And we are live. Whoop, 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 whoop. And we didn't even have to do the fake banter this time. We didn't actually do any banter this time. How are you? How's life?
I'm good. I literally just finished eating a bunch of pancakes that I didn't finish at breakfast.
Nice. That's awesome. How's the weather?
It's been
or is it still hectic?
No, it's honestly for the US, Wisconsin's been doing really well. It's been like 40 degrees for like the past like 4 days. It's stupid nice.
Nice. Judah says, "Heyo." What up, Judah? How's life? How you doing, mate? You two are doing a great job. That's funny. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. We start from James's funeral this time. That was pretty intense.
Right? That was, again, like, there's been a big theme of, like, cultural differences, and this was another one of them.
Yeah. It's another, like, scene where they kind of, like, feeling their way through, like, picking up on social cues and all that fun stuff. They're also, like, he's also doing that thing that you talked about last time that he's really good at, where he makes us really feel the heat and the thirst.
Mm-hmm.
Again. Because that's what you need, for sure. Paul sheds tears for Jameis, which is, like, a big deal because he's shedding water. So that's
right.
Interesting. And then, like, realizes he has to treat him as, like, a friend. So he says, like, he made me realize that I'm not into killing.
I would be so screwed in a culture where, like, you can't cry or where that's, like, dangerous to your survival. I would be dead in a month, I think.
I was thinking the exact same thing. And also, like, think about all the other things you can't do. Like, I'm wondering, because we get a pretty romantic scene at the end of this section. Like, what about squirting? Can you squirt? Can you come? Like, you know, that's my major question. That's what I want to know.
That's true. Maybe you have to, like, use that for something else. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Use it to lubricate something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Reuse.
Maybe the still suit collects and distills that down to
I would have. You know what? We gotta raise Frank Herbert and we gotta ask him some questions.
So on the next episode, we'll be using a Ouija board and talking to Frank. Send us a message. All right. So, so everyone's taking, like, his shit, distributing his items and stuff, which is interesting. How like and Paul takes the balisette. Is it like the guitar thing? I'll just call it the guitar thing, which is cool because he obviously, like, thinks of Gurney. And then he also gets his water because he won it in combat, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Like, I finally caught it. Kind of the Paul being like, "Ew, thanks."
Thank you so much. And Jessica being like, "Take it. Just take the water." It's funny watching her guide him through, like, all these. It's like watching a affluent mother and son travel to Europe and, like, have to interact with people that are outside their norm. And she's, like, politely shoving him along. Polly says, "I finally caught it, and as always, at the right moment." Yeah, you hopped on at the exact wrong time. I'm so sorry about that. It was my fault. Glynis had nothing to do with it. What else happens? Oh yeah, so they are shown, like, the wind traps that capture the water treasure troves, and they see that the Fremen are, like, perfectionists in everything that they build and create. Everything works super well. Learn about, like, dew traps and stuff, like how they capture water in the desert, how they survive. Stilgar takes them through their plan for terraforming the planet. Chani and Paul are, like, having mad flirtations in front of Jessica, and she's not having it. She's like, "I need to tell him straight away that bitches be bitches or hoes be hoes." And then it's funny because she's like, oh, sorry, I was going to say, like, she's a concubine, and she's like, "I have to tell him that he can only have a concubine." And then she has that weird, like, inner monologue of, "Wait, I was a concubine."
Right. Moms are gonna mom.
That's true. And that's, like, it's that separation of her motherly instinct and her duty is really interesting to watch, hey?
Right, like what percentage of Jessica is mom? What percentage is like strategist? What percentage is concubine?
Yep. Yeah, she's a really fascinating person. Also, she's like in the early stages of pregnancy, so I'm imagining hormonal as fuck. A says, "Hi, cuties. What's up, baby? How you doing?" What else we got? Yeah. So
I liked the interaction where like he asked Cheney like, "Oh hey, can you can just carry this water?"
Yeah.
NBD, to which everyone's like,
"Ooh, yeah," because that's like a dating, a courtship ritual or something that he picks up on. Yeah,
and she's so like, she's just very cool about it.
Yeah, looks at her dad. She's like, what do I do here? I love it. Sorry, not her dad, the bloody Stilgar. So Paul also has some interior monologues around seeing his like mother as the enemy, because he's still figuring out the limitations of his visions and he's desperate to stop that jihad. And then he sings like a love song to Shani on the guitar thing that he learned from Gurney as like a deliberate, I think, fuck you. Yeah. Also like a fuck you to his mom, and also this chick's my future. I've seen her in all my visions and shit.
That would be nice when you're dating.
That's really romantic.
If you're like, no, you're not the one I saw in my vision. Next.
It would be so much easier. So much easier. Why doesn't Tinder have a visions setting? We should message them after this.
Come on.
All right.
It's so 2021.
Yeah, fucking where's our flying cars and shit? Fade's 17th birthday, and oh boy, here he goes, killing again.
Oh boy. I don't know. I feel maybe like I really love Fade, and I think it's maybe just because his name is awesome, but maybe it's because I genuinely like the character. I really don't know yet.
He's a cool character because he's like the embodiment of teenage rebellion. Like, he hates the Baron, and so much of his motivation is, fuck this guy, I'm gonna piss this guy off. Which, fair enough. I really wonder,
like, if he was abused. I almost certainly think he was abused physically by the Baron, but I wonder if he was also like sexually abused.
Yeah,
because that's very clearly an aspect of the Baron's personality.
100%. It's insinuated so much. It would not surprise me at all if that was the case. And what's interesting too is like, so it's kind of an event for his birthday. Like, he's having this arena fight and they've got visitors. They've got like the minor houses there, and the Count and the Lady Fenring showing up to Getty Prime. And the lady is like another Bene Gesserit, and Fade is like, this chick's hot. And you can see in the Baron's reaction that he's not jealous of that. He's just like, he's never felt love or concern for anyone but himself. So he's like,
how lonely.
Get out of it. Yeah, he's such a bastard.
I do really enjoy, like, the Fenrings coming into this is just instantly entertaining with what he described Count Fenring thinking of the Baron's waddling glide. Like, oh, I like you.
Yeah, and also he's got a stutter when they're talking in public, and then as soon as they go into this private meeting, the stutter just disappears. So he's obviously got a persona that he puts on for...
I had to find where I wrote it down. The voice that this narrator does for the Fenrings sounds just like the aliens from Galaxy Quest.
Oh my god. I
was cracking up.
I fucking love that movie. I wish there was more of that.
It's the best Star Trek movie.
The best Star Trek movie? It's so true. Yeah,
take that, I hadn't even J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, suck it with your lens flares. Oh yeah, Robo says there's a high pitch buzzing sound, plug and unplug mics. Yep, I'll do that. Am I back? Let's see. Sounds right. Hello. Hello, test. Can you hear me?
Is it better?
Is it better? Robo did it. I don't have hi, Robo. I don't have a mic in, and I hear it a bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing it on my end, but we had this issue the first time, I think, as well. Sounds the exact same. So thank you, technology. I appreciate it. Where we at? Oh yeah, so just like yeah, let us know in the chat how it's going. It's okay. Okay. All right, we'll see how we go for the rest of the episode. If it gets too annoying, just let us know and we can try again another day. But where we at? Oh yeah, so Count and Lady note the militaristic implementation and all.
I would have. I don't have hotkeys, otherwise I would try some stuff.
Oh no, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all good. You get this for free. And Robo says the show must go on. Yeah, so
just put some mood music on in the background to drown it out.
Yeah, just mute us and put Beyonce over the top, and we'll basically just look like we're going to that. Yeah. Where we at? So Count and Lady Fenring note the militaristic implementation and all things since the Leto attack. So everyone's like on edge. There's soldiers and shit everywhere looking over shit all the time. A says, I think we can just blame men for the sound. Yeah, that's fair. This is all I hear.
A man built this PC that I think is the problem, and I blame him because he was this sort of mediocre man, and maybe he built a mediocre PC that he made annoying noises.
Did it on purpose, I swear to God.
Thanks for building my PC, friend.
That's right. Just like any aristocrats in this universe, as we were saying, both the Count and the Lady have like public and private personas. So at the end of this like arena match, the Lady lets on that she is actually trying to seduce Fade and like carry Fade's child. And because she's a Bene Gesserit and she thinks Paul is dead, she's like, is this guy going to be the prophesized one that everyone's talking about? So she kind of wants a piece of that again. Everyone wants a piece. The Emperor is still pissed, so that's why he sent the Counts as like a representative to have a chat to the Baron and say, the Sardaukar are going to lie if you try and bring them into it to the other houses. Most of the Fremen have been eliminated, but it's not good enough. We said we wanted all of them dead. We had a secret satellite that picked up some growth that shouldn't be there. You need to check that out. And he's like, are you allowed to be doing that? And they're like, no, we're not. The guild is not allowing us to do it, but we're doing it. What else happens in here? Oh yeah, the Baron shares his inspired idea of turning Arrakis into a prison planet. Which fucking scary shit, right?
Like that's how you can tell someone is the villain, when they're like, prison industrial complex.
Yes, I love it. Oh yeah, the Count is like, hey, you lied about keeping Hawat and you need to kill that guy. And he's like, but I didn't have a mentat and he's really useful.
I love that this little simpering Count Fenring is like he seems like such a little worm, but then you get him alone with the Baron and he's like, hey, look here, son. And the Baron is scared, like for the first time. He's not a domineering, like, I've got control of this. He's like, oh crap, you actually have way more cards than I do. Yep. I made a tiny, huge mistake.
The truth. Oh yeah, so that arena fight, what did you think of that?
That was, okay, I am not, hearing that was coming, I was kind of like, because I'm not someone for whom, like, combat isn't easy for me to picture. So that can be bad, but this was like, I thought there was enough dialogue that like it was easy to understand what was happening. It wasn't just like he dodged left, then he darted right.
Yep.
Which, by the way, who was he?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, like it kept it going with like it felt more like two people talking than two people fighting.
Yeah, because there was a lot of like exposing plots and stuff inside Fade's mind. Like you learnt that he'd been working with the Fear to maybe have a plot within a plot within a plot, because they set up this fight with the slave that's supposed to be drugged but isn't drugged because that's going to make Fade look good. But what Fade doesn't know is that this dude's like a real skilled fighter, like one of Atreides' like old fighter dudes. And so he's more skilled than he anticipated. So there's like levels and layers to this whole scene. And yeah, it gets you into Fade's mind and how Fade operates, and it's a lot of underhandedness and a lot of like switching the poison blades out and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I like that he wants people to know.
Yeah. And he's so like confident in his, like, it gives you a real glimpse into the hierarchy of Getty Prime and how much power they have, and how they even talk about like the squalor of the people that aren't aristocrats in the streets and shit, because they just don't care. They got slaves. It's so different to the Atreides house already. It's like really setting the two apart, which is really fascinating. Yeah, so we finally get. What was that?
Oh, just back to Paul.
Yeah, back to Paul. Shani finds out about Kynes' death, or her dad's death, as the tribe arrives at a larger settlement. Paul takes on James's family as his tradition, and he gets like the choice of, do you want his old wife as your wife or like a servant? And he's like, can I change my mind later? And they're like, sure. He's like, okay, servant, choose servant. And they say like, you can probably free her later, but for a year this family has to be your, like, this is you have to take on that responsibility. And then they go straight to this, like, so he meets the two kids that Jameis used to have. One of them is his biologically, and the other is like an adopted from another dude that he killed to get into that same position.
His new adopted kids.
It's pretty cute, and they're like also described as soldier kids too. You know, like he remembers that. What's the phrase? Like even the youngest Arrakis children fight like adults, like as viciously as adults. So that's pretty fascinating. And they've got like so then they go straight to the ceremony where Jessica doesn't tell anyone that she's pregnant, but she goes into this like Reverend Mother ceremony thing where she has to drink a bunch of spice water, have this like massive vision. It's almost like she's drinking a bunch of mushies.
Right.
And the other chick is like dying and putting her life force and memories into Jessica. So she's like finally leveling up to Reverend Mother while she's pregnant. And
which, like, what is that doing to your baby?
Yeah.
So like, is the baby also downloading the Reverend Mother?
That's kind of what they insinuated. Hey, because the previous Reverend Mother says to her, if you'd been pregnant with a son, he wouldn't have survived it. But because you have a daughter, there's a chance. You should have told us you were pregnant. What have we done? Like, there's a lot of that going on inside. So she's having this, like, essentially like a huge trip while she's pregnant. And she's like communicating with this girl in this other realm, as well as like trying to keep her daughter safe and like project feelings of love and assurance to her daughter and be like, it's going to be good. And then she becomes like the new Reverend Mother, and they pass like the spice water around, and it's kind of like this group, how do they describe it, like orgy sharing of minds,
kind of
trip,
like, spiritual rejoicing. I don't know.
Nice.
It's communion, I guess, is how I would put it.
Nice. Yeah. That's exactly how I would describe it too. Like Paul and Shani finally get some time alone, and they open up to each other because they're also both stoned. And it's really cute and romantic. I thought it was a really sweet scene.
I think that the biggest takeaway for me from that scene is when they talk about like where that water comes from.
Yep.
Because it comes from a dying sandworm.
Yeah, that's right. I remember them saying that.
Like, specifically a sandworm that's been drowned.
Yeah.
Which, like, okay, so, like, by the way, the only thing I'm aware of that you expel when you die is poop, so. But, second, like, how and it seems like this is something they're controlling. So like, how are you controlling enough water that you can drown one of those giant worms?
Yeah.
That's a very
And
interesting question.
it was, and I kind of allude to that in terms of like, so when I was talking about their perfectionism of what they built, Jessica's like noting that they have really accurate measurements of water, and they've got all these like different, he's like, this pool of water that none of us will touch, there's multiple ones of these all around that only certain people know about, and the goal is to use all that to basically terraform the planet. So they've got, big lofty ideals and stuff. Lady Fantastic, I've been hitting the spice hard tonight. Ace, I just woke up from a Benadryl nap. No worries, I folded time and jumped right over. It's nice to see you, spice worms in my garden. We're happy that you're here. Honestly, that's all we've really got to talk about, unless anyone has any questions, because that's kind of like the section that we just covered.
I mean, I guess, one of the things I had noticed when I was talking about this with Dakota is that it seems like, I think Cheney is replacing Jessica as like the major advisor to Paul, the biggest influence in his life. And like their paths seem to be kind of splitting now.
For sure. And that's right, because he has that like internal monologue of
she is my
like,
enemy.
my mother's the enemy. Like, if I'm gonna avoid this jihad at all, I have to break away from her training and her influence and her, because that's the only way I can see it not happening. Right. It's really interesting.
And we also learn, while they're all tripping balls, we also learn that the Fremen are like super old. They're not even from Arrakis. That they're from, they appeared on, he lists a whole host of planets that like they were here and then they got killed and they were here. So like, that's interesting. And which makes me wonder, like, Jessica is coming at this assuming that they have all this prophecy prepared because of the mission, the protectiva.
The protectorate. Yeah. It's hard.
Like, maybe that's not the case. Maybe the Fremen are older than the Bene Gesserits, or like maybe this isn't just, bullshit. Maybe it's real.
That's right, because like so far that's what it seems to be, right? Like everything that she thought was made up to protect Bene Gesserit is coming true. And it's not just because they're both like trained in these Bene Gesserit, like it's exactly what you said, the chicken and the egg is reversed kind of deal. Right.
I liked these. Like these were, I think we've been doing this kind of every other of like, these are, I want him to know that I heard that in like the Han Solo, like, like, but these chapters have been following a very like, now we're going to get a bunch of information on like the planet, and then we're going to have a lot of plot, and then we're going to have a lot of information.
Yeah. And it's amazing how he manages to like, one thing I'm always enthralled with when he's writing is he manages to have this amazing balance of like exposition and like plot happening simultaneously. Like you've got these inner workings of these characters while stuff is happening concurrently. And so you're getting like the best of both worlds. It's not like, here is all the things you need to know before you get to the good part of the story. It's like really intricately interwoven into the story that you're reading. It makes it so enjoyable.
Agreed.
It's really fun to read.
He uses words good. I don't know, like a lot of, I think, fantasy and sci-fi authors, like I love Tolkien. But he uses a lot of words I don't think he needs to be using. I think there's too many words.
Yeah, he's almost like the edited version of Tolkien. Like some of his sentences are so sharp and short, and you're just like, nice.
I want to call him. It reminds me. Okay, what's the movie? Amadeus with Mozart, where he's like, I do not have too many notes. I use exactly as many notes as is needed. Nice. Like I feel like Frank Herbert is the Mozart of sci-fi.
Yeah, I like when I was reading this trip scene in particular, I was like, this feels like if someone had taken what I'd written down or recorded myself thinking and saying on mushrooms when I'm like right in the thick of it and feeling connected to everyone and everything, and then they've like fully edited it 5 times and sent it through a publishing house and like it feels
So,
like he's really captured the inner workings, and then
where I would be able to find it again, but it's worth tracking down. So Carl Sagan used to smoke a lot of weed, and then think about space. Yeah, he was a huge stoner. It helped him think about space. Yeah. And like there are tapes. He started taping himself because he would forget this stuff that he would think about while he was high. So there are tapes of him being like, "You must remember this, Carl. Remember."
Fuck yeah, remember. It's me, past Carl.
Right? I assume they were similar to this.
Truly, like, I cannot look at Neil deGrasse, who's like his protege, I guess, right? You could call him. Like, I cannot see him not stoned. Like, every time I see him publicly speaking, it seems like he's had some sort of chemical boost. Maybe I'm just projecting.
But I don't think you can understand the universe with a plain human brain. I think it needs like sprinkles.
Yeah, you need some doorways opened and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not saying go do a bunch of crack, but maybe smoke some green and do some mushrooms.
I am in no way endorsing irresponsible drug use.
But yeah, like I can imagine reading, like part of me wants to print out the Litany of Fear and have it next time I trip on the wall so that I can calm myself down with it. And I know people have like gotten it tattooed and stuff like that for the same reason. So that it's because words are powerful, man. And he like, exactly like you said, he only uses as much as he needs. He's not excessive.
I appreciate it.
Me too.
But yeah, now we're at the end of book 2.
Yeah, man.
We're in the
so we got
stretch.
2 sessions to go. We're gonna start from book 3 to about halfway, and then we're gonna finish it. And the next 2 weeks, we're gonna talk about those 2 sections. Did you have any quotes from this bit?
Oh, maybe. I just want to say for like anyone, including me, who is like, this book is way too long. Hey, we're almost done.
That's right. And originally we thought it was going to take 10 sessions. Now it's only going to take us 8.
It's a good book. Yeah, no, I think the only... Oh, I did write down. I liked that Fenring is a killer with the manners of a rabbit. I was babysat by Carl Sagan.
Are you for real? Wait, go back. Is this a real fact?
Yeah.
Have we talked about this before?
I think it came up like a year ago. My dad works for the DNR, and he needed to talk to a guy at the university who happened to be teaching like a course with Carl Sagan, who was guest lecturing. And so while my dad and mom were talking to the guy, the other professor, he volunteered to watch my sister and I so they could do what they needed to do. And then he I remember him getting down with a slinky and being like, this is what a wormhole does. And this is what a black hole does. And then he let us play with his slinky and I broke it. We broke it. I'm sure it was a group effort. And then I remember we had to buy a new slinky and bring it to him. And I remember being pissed that we had to take this slinky to this old guy when I, a child, would clearly appreciate it more. And now as an adult, I'm like, my mom just wanted to see Carl Sagan again.
Hell yeah, that is so sweet. I wonder if he because he seems to, from what I've heard about Tyson as well, he seems to have a real interest in educating young people. He's obviously he wants to get them excited about the stuff that he's excited about.
A mistake to assume that kids can't understand complex ideas.
Yep.
Because I don't feel I feel like as a kid I was better able to understand those concepts than as an adult. Because
you don't have those rules of whatever imbued in your brain. You're a lot more flexible in terms of those crazy concepts.
Book on philosophy called Sophie's World that was written by I want to say Norwegian philosophy professor. Cool. It's a fiction book, but it's actually a textbook for his class that he teaches. And there's one part where Sophie her teacher is telling her so if you were a kid and you're having breakfast and your dad flies into the room, you wouldn't think that's crazy because you don't know that that's not supposed to be a thing. But the older you get, the more rules you learn. And you are less open to the kind of out there. There's a whole rabbit scenario. It's a great book. You should read it.
Oh, sounds incredible.
I'm sure Ace has
I
read
love
it,
how
actually.
I started. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Lady Fantastic actually says, I visited Carl Sagan's grave. I can't even remember when he died. I'd have to go back and look that up. How old were you when you did that? They are the great arbiters of science to the common man. Polly, if you put them into simple words, kids get everything just fine.
Exactly.
A good way to see whether you're a good teacher or not, because if you can't put it simply, you're not. Yeah, that's fair. I can see that. Because the whole idea of being a teacher, to me, and this is me with zero teaching experience, but 2 sisters as teachers, 2 parents as teachers.
Well, and how many years
you
of being a student?
Yeah, that's true. You have to be able to take something and convey it to a range of different learning styles and brains. And so you're like a conduit from information to a human. And it's hard because not everyone learns the same and everyone's got different experiences. And exactly what Glynis is saying, everyone gets different biases and different walls put up as they grow. So yeah, I love that kids learning about space stuff, because fuck yeah, space, that's the future for us, right? If we keep burning through this planet at the rate we're going, we're going to end up like Dune. We're going to have to become the computers, man.
It's 100% Jeff Bezos' plan. I love and hate that interview where he was just like, well, yeah, we're going to use up the Earth and then I'm focusing on another planet because that's oh. Fuck the pores. Got it.
Yeah, fuck the pores. That's right. And that was part of why Sagan was so appealing to me too, is because Tyson was this impoverished black kid in the 70s, 80s, he would have been a kid. And this guy just picks him and says if you catch the bus to here every day, I'm going to teach you all this shit that I know. We can, when you get old enough, smoke a bunch of weed together and understand it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I love that shit.
That's knowledge is useless if you hoard it. You have to spread that.
True.
Oh, I was talking about the book Sophie's World,
which I just added to my Kindle wishlist, by the way, on the side.
It gets really dry around Kant. The chapters will be just straight chapters about pre-Socratics and Kant, and I ran out of names now. I'm sure Polly filled me in with them.
Yeah, probably help.
So those get kind of dull, but my advice is set it on your toilet and just read it when you poo, and you'll get through it in no time.
Fuck yeah, that sounds great. Ace says, "Oh, I've read that. There you go. You picked it." Ace has read it. Lady Fantastic says, "Knowledge is power, truth," and that's part of what I like about this section of the book too. Right, is when, so like Glynis said, it's sandworm juice. Post-death sandworm juice. And once Jessica's consumed it, she kind of says that she's filtered it down and everyone can have a taste, so everyone can feel connected. So it's sharing the knowledge and trip somewhat, which is really cool.
Anytime you can have a shared experience, you can bond a group together.
Yeah, that's I know everyone's there is no meaning of life and it's all chaos, which I agree with, but everyone needs connection. And
just because there's no meaning doesn't mean we can't have fun.
That's right. That is so right. Polly says, "Oh, come on, philosophy is fun." But
philosophy is fun. It just can get very dry.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And there's actually, maybe we should talk about that as a future book club thing too. There's philosophy comics that try and take these really complex concepts and boil them down into 1 or 2 page comic strips, and it's awesome. I think it's called Action Philosophy or something like that. And I've gotten into those lately because whenever I try and go back and reread Nietzsche or whatever the fuck, I get halfway through and I lose momentum.
I prefer my philosophy in other stuff. It's really hard for me to go through and read just the works of X. I need it to be in somewhere. I kind of love those books that are Battlestar Galactica in philosophy, The Simpsons in philosophy, because I'm connected to something that's relevant to my life.
Yeah.
And I'll get it 100% faster.
That's right, 100%. Greeks are fantastic, says Polly. Ace says, "You all should read Hench by Natalie Zena." wall shots. Oh shit! Oh shit! I love this like little bonding thing that's going on between Ace and Glynis today, like suggesting books that they both already have. It's so great. Well, both of you should work to pick like a really, not like a really intense, but like a more intense / non-fiction / I don't know, something that we can discuss in another book club, because I would really enjoy that.
I have an entire book about syphilis.
Perfect. I'd love to know more about myself.
That's why I love you.
Oh, I love you. Ace says, Natalie is my buddy. Fuck yeah. I also love hearing, like, I'm assuming that's a woman. Could be wrong. But, like, I'm trying to read more women is a goal. Because I realize, like, I think I said this to you a few times, like, 90% of my bookcase is men. Whoa!
I was very much the same for a very long time. And, like, the first, like, year or so that I started doing, like, for every one book I read by a white cisgender human, I would read one by someone who's not a white cisgender, like, able-bodied person. And, like, it was really hard at first. And then I discovered Nigerian authors, and that got me through a good 6 months.
Hell yeah. That's
but
so
like
dope.
It's gotten a lot easier, and I think like bookstores, indie bookstores super duper help. Like that's one of the reasons we need indie bookstores. Because like I love, you know, Barnes and Noble or Books A Million, but like you get recommended whatever's on the New York Times bestseller list. Like it's all very contrived. At an indie bookstore, you get much more like personalized recommendations, smaller authors, smaller publishing houses. And it becomes incredibly easy to start reading. I think actually Avid Reader, not too far from you, I'm on their newsletter now, and they do a lot of highlighting like local authors or indigenous or Aboriginal authors.
Okay, so Glynis, I need everyone to know in the chat that Glynis spoiled me, spoils so many people, buys books for people all the time. It's ridiculous. You're like some kind of book fairy. It's the most beautiful thing. And I showed up to this bookstore where they'd like purchased this Valentine's package of these two beautiful classic books, and I walked in and it was just like, I think it was like a midday on a Wednesday because I went after a blood test, and it was like filled with people. It is a really popular bookstore, and it just made my heart sing to see like so many people browsing, and like exactly what you said, it's not like you walk in and it's like what you see in every Barnes and Noble or whatever, where it's like this major author. There's just weird shit everywhere. And yeah, it's so fun. And like you get cream of the crop that way. You get to like work your way through some really strange shit. Also, I missed a lot in the chat. Here we go. Natalie is genderqueer, but goes by any pronouns. Thank you for saying that. Plato's Republic from Lady Fantastic. Trials of Socrates. Robo says, I've been trying to find more non-men leftists on YouTube. It's pretty hard. Yeah, you recommended me a good one. Remind me in the chat what that was, because I really enjoyed it. A lot of Greek plays were philosophical in nature. Loved anything. Oh, Aeschylus. Do you know how to pronounce that one?
I don't even know where we are in this chat.
I'm working my way through.
Are we going up or are we going down?
I'm going down.
Yeah.
Ace says, Robo Strange, what kind of content? I probably have suggestions. Oh yeah, like in the vein of Vorsh and Hassan, which are two men that I really love watching. Polly. I love that part when he was told to chill and not get too excited or the poison might not work. Yeah, I'm loving the chat today. Oh, that's right. This is the one. Intellectual media, but it's spelt like sexual because it's like intellectual sexual. It's a really good YouTube channel by this woman of color who I think is maybe a sex worker as well. And so there's like, did one recently on the Capitol Hill riot, which I really enjoyed, and has like an awesome Patreon and all the cool shit. Oh, Lady Fantastic. Aeschylus. Thank you. Let me find it again.
Wait, Kalis?
Loved anything by Aeschylus.
I thought we were talking about Kalis, and I got really excited. Like, we were going to worship the Klingon god, but no.
Yeah, I'm finally catching up like 5 minutes later. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Lady Fantastic. Thanks for educating us. We really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to cover, Glynis, before we hop off?
I just think, like, what do we think book 3 is going to be? Where are we going from here?
Because we know there's a lot of Dune books, right?
Right. And we know the next one is Dune Messiah. So, spoilers. I don't think he stops his whole Messiah thing.
What? It's funny that he's so... You said this to me last, the idea of it, but then you were saying, like, sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes war is necessary, and...
Productive chaos.
When you got a productive chaos, that's exactly it. I am hoping what we'll see is some kind of... Because you've already spoken about the divide between Jessica and Paul, and I think that's probably going to continue with Jessica's daughter. So there's probably going to be two flip sides of the coin there again, where like Paul and his sister are maybe not opposite ends of the coin, or sorry, flip sides of the coin, but definitely have different ideals and leanings. That'll be really interesting. And plus, if she's anything like as powerful as he is, then he's going to have a real contender. And Fade has grown up super fast, so I'm really fascinated to see how the three of them interact.
Right. I assume we're going to get a time jump, so his sister can be a player.
Yeah. Plus, we've already seen like her name, and he's had some visions there, and yep. He says burp.
I do that a lot.
I love it. He fought in the Battle of Marathon. He was prouder of that than any of his plays. Such a Greek. That's amazing.
Such a Greek.
Yeah. Have you ever written anything that you wanted to publish, Glynis? I know that's a weird question.
No.
No? Is that like ever a goal of yours, do you think?
Like in high school, I thought that I really wanted to write for like The Daily Show or The Onion. But like I don't like rejection.
Oh yeah.
I don't
That's
take
such a
that
huge
well.
part of it. Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't want to live in a city.
Yep.
But no, like I've had one idea for a book ever, and like it's something Jodi Picoult should write. No offense if you love her. No, I'm good. If you need help on a research paper or a bibliography,
hell yeah. That's Glynis is your person. I love it.
Right.
I constantly mute myself on IFLC to burp. Amazing.
I didn't even think about that.
I do it all the time. I'd like try and disguise it as a cough. I'm like,
I burp so much that like it doesn't. That's just one of the delightful noises that I come with.
I like it. It's a human noise. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna just quickly give the chat some comments before we go. I'm writing a book right now about an age gap lesbian couple that may just be sad fanfic about me and Helen Mirren /
I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think that's dope. I love fanfiction.
I've never read one. There's not enough lesbian literature, in my opinion. Just full stop. And second, like, hi, Sarah Waters doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and second, I don't think there's enough. Yeah, like, women loving women age gap relationships. We have Sarah Paulson as a real life example, and that's it.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I'm watching like American Horror Story Cult at the moment, which is the one about the 2016 election. And it's kind of like, because she's in reality always been the younger woman, and in this one she's with that chick from what's it, Scott Pilgrim, that plays the drums.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can't remember the actress's name, but she's like, yeah, she's super hot. And so she's like the older one in this relationship, Sarah Paulson. And then she's kind of got like a nanny that's seducing her as well. Man, I wish there was more like Ryan Murphy style, just like gaze in your face, stylistic content. Yeah.
Well, we get every shape and size of hetero relationship. I think we need give me every shape and size of although we do need more, I think, older women, younger man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we do. My movie, it's called Short Bus. I don't know if you've seen it. The Short
I've
Bus.
never even heard of
And
it.
there's a scene in it where there's like queer relationships, and there's like a whole mix of stories that are interweaving. And there's one scene where like 3 dudes are hooking up with each other, and they end up singing like karaoke into each other's boners. It's awesome. It's really great.
Having watched videos of bonobo monkeys, I believe that.
Yeah. It's just really, it's like really, I love sex scenes. The reason I watched all of Girls, even though Lena Dunham is kind of insufferable at times, is because of the realistic feeling sex scenes where there was like awkward moments. And
I loved like Long Shot with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, because they had, I loved it mostly because they had she couldn't get her skinny jeans off.
We've all been there. We've all been there. Have you seen this campaign from Gen Z that's like, get rid of skinny jeans? And I'm like, you don't know what you're asking for.
No, that is, fuck yeah, Gen Z. You come for our side parts and you come for our skinny jeans, because I've been saying that they're stupid. I have no butt, and I need my flared denim because it's the only thing that makes me look like my body has some sort of shape.
I'm just remembering all the like bottoms of jeans that I ruined in my 30-year lifespan, walking through dirt, walking through mud, walking through festivals. Like,
my jeans always just had like a loop in the back of like it had worn off, and my mom would, I eventually started just filling it in with like duct tape.
Nice. That's amazing. I hadn't even thought of doing that. That's genius.
No, it's not. It's a terrible
Robo says, can't get skinny jeans off. Story of my life. Yeah.
These are your legs now.
Yeah, that's it. Thick thighs save lives, something like that. Also, I think females are dominant with bonobos. Is that the monkeys?
Yeah. They're an excellent monkey.
Yeah, fuck yeah. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo has some good bi rep. Fuck yeah, I'm down with that. Ree has such a Leia look today.
I was going to say that before we left.
So much. Help me, Glynis. You're my only hope.
That sucks for you.
I'm so sorry. Oh my god, read The Stars and Blackness Between Them for a good lesbian book. I'm only about halfway. But it's good. Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, can you please get the list for me?
Oh my god, my crappy One Direction glitter pens aren't working. I can't imagine why.
One Direction. I'm an indiscriminate burpee and farter. Burpee? It was a barrier to new relationships for sure, says Robo. All right, so we got a few recs. The recs that we had for today are Sophie's World, The Stars and Blackness Between Them, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. We had some Greek philosophers or playwrights in there.
You know, like, so my local library has a bring your own book club where you just bring whatever book you're reading and you talk about it, and I think that we should do that too.
That sounds so fun. Yeah, if you guys have anything you want to see us talk about, we'll do whatever. We've got 2 weeks left of June, and then, yeah, suggest away, because I'm always down to read whatever you guys suggest. I've never had a bad rec from Glynis, put it that way.
I have read some terrible books, if you want me to recommend some terrible books.
Always. It helps me gain perspective on the good ones, you know? Did I tell you I read that gender-swapped version of Twilight?
Oh, how was it? Is it terrible?
Exactly what you'd expect.
I bought the, 50 Shades from the boy? What was his name? Anyway, from his perspective, but I haven't been able... Christian, thank you.
Yeah, fucking hell, that was hard. My brain was like,
Jamie
I've
Dornan?
erased it. Yeah, that's it. So, you know why I liked this gender swap one, even though it's the exact same as Twilight, really, there's not really major changes to it. But it does feel nice to have, all the major characters that made real differences were initially men, so it's nice to have them as women.
I can see that. Was Charlie Swan a woman then?
No, the only ones she didn't swap, I think, were her parents, because
They were the only worthwhile
his
characters in the series?
well, yes, but also I think there was something around custody. It would have been harder for. There was something about custody rights in the 90s was how she justified the not swapping Charlie and Esme, whatever the chick's name was. Renee? Which one was her mum? One of those.
Renee, I think, was her mom. And
Yep.
I don't know. Why am I trying to remember this?
I know, right? They did
If
swap,
you love Twilight, you are totally allowed that. Do not take my word for anything.
Yeah, that's right. Polly's in the chat. I'm so sorry, Polly. I know you're a Twilight stan, but they did swap Carlisle and Esme. That's what I was trying to think of. And so, like, female Carlisle is still a doctor, which is nice to see as well. And the names they picked for, like, or she picked, I should say, for swapping is really interesting. Like, Edward's now Edith, but with a Y.
Wasn't one of them, like, Beauchamp or something?
Yeah, Beau is Bella. Yeah. Oh, it's so great. Yeah, the names alone, you should just look up the name list and have a giggle because it's pretty fun to work
Not
through.
everything can have names like Dune, so
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. I just love how, yeah, and I love how all the names are like super gendered. There's nothing that's really ambiguous or, yeah, it's funny. All right, Orlando by Virginia Woolf even is some good early gender fluid literature. I promise that.
Read anything by Virginia Woolf.
Oh, who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? Glynis.
No, I just had a mom who like grew up in the 70s and was like, she's overrated. So I was like, okay, Mom.
I only read her because I was your stereotypical emo 13-year-old that wanted to be deeper than I actually was in reality.
Yeah, I bought a copy of The Bell Jar and my mom was like, really, Glynis? She would do that occasionally. Like, I brought home Atlas Shrugged and she was like, just don't. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yep.
That was fair.
Yeah, oh, totally. Well, I told you about the bloody Valentine's gift I got last year, the Fountainhead. Yeah, a dozen roses in the Fountainhead.
Okay, I will say, it was sort of hard to pick out books for a Valentine's Day present, because, like, half of the stuff that I love is, like, about murder, or, like, someone gets
sexy as fuck.
Assaulted, or...
Is there anything more romantic than murder? Let's be honest.
And honestly, the ones I did get for you, really bad stuff happens to all of the characters.
It's equal. It's all equality. Polly, every time we talk about bad books, these two come to mind. How did I end up a Twilight stan? My favorite writer is Faulkner.
I think I remember reading that Faulkner was also a Twilight stan, so...
Yeah, there you go. Glynis, I do recommend She's Nothing Like Ulysses. The diaries, though, that's priceless. Her letters to Vida are... There you go. Alrighty. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. Sorry that we just rattled on about fun shit for half an hour, but I really enjoyed it.
We're delightful.
Yeah, we're pretty fucking great. Is there anything you'd like to leave us on? You've carried so much of this show, so I just want to say thank you.
Will endeavor to not be beepy, and thank you for putting up with my lack of understanding of technology.
Hey, R2-D2 is the beepiest Star Wars character, and also one of the most beloved. So, just saying, if it's good content, who cares? All right, kids, we're going to see you later. Bye. I love you.
Bye.
And
Stay safe. Stay healthy. Yeah. Wear your mask.
What they said. And we'll see you soon. See you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.